from Black Witch Coven, and today in the series of Tools of Witchcraft, I'm going to be talking about the witch's cauldron. Now, everyone's heard of a witch's cauldron throughout history, whether you're just into the history of witchcraft, to modern day potion making, to whether you just like really cool and cute little things to sit on your altar to burn incense or candles. Everyone's heard of the cauldron. If you're a gamer, you've heard of the witch's cauldron. Okay, I've looked at my kids' games and I'm like, damn, you actually know how to cast better spells than half the witches. What is a cauldron? The cauldron is basically a classic witch's tool that witches use in order to cast spells or to make potions. Outside of that, you would probably use a cauldron to burn incense or to maybe set a candle, a tea light candle or something like that. Other than that, it's to look cool. It's to help decorate your witchy shelf or something like that. And there's nothing wrong with that for any of those reasons. A cauldron historically is a cast iron pot that was used for cooking. And this has been used across the ages and across all different cultures. It was basically how you cooked food prior to our modern day inventions of cooking food. So that part isn't too magical. It's very practical and mundane. You'll see these across the world even now, used in campgrounds and in cold regions where it's awesome to cook food outside for the masses, and that's why it's used at big festivals and so on. But cauldrons are still being used in various ways across the world. For example, in Thailand, one of my most favorite countries in the entire world, you'll see Buddhist monks to this day tending to a cauldron in front of one of their many 100 or 1,000 Buddhist temples. But at these places called Hell's Gardens, what they're doing, or what the monks are doing, are depicting various scenes where people are receiving their karma for the negative things that they have done in their life. And so one of the scenes are people being boiled alive because of some of the sins that they have committed. Now, of course, this doesn't happen in real life, but if you're ever in Thailand, just outside of Bangkok, I think you should go to Hell's Garden and really check this out just for fun. So in this video, I'm going to share with you two ways that we at the Coven use this type of witchy tool. Now, Gypsy has very generously shared some images from her ritual. I'll walk you through a similar ritual, and basically in this ritual you're using a fire in the pot and basically creating some intentions and releasing them with the power of the flame. What I'll be showing you, or what I typically use it for, I use it for that as well. As you've seen in previous years, I've done many videos where I've released things via the flame. And the cauldron, especially a cast iron or a wrought iron cauldron, is a perfect way to release anything via the flame and not worrying about something melting. But typically the way I use a cauldron is to create potions and so on. So I'll walk you through both ways. So I'm also going to share with you a little curse that I think you might enjoy. So just give me some airtime for a second. I'll explain to you what I'm going to do, especially if you have a little issue with cursing, right? So this is called a cauldron curse, or in this case, this is a really fun and special little antique I picked up along the way. It's a bronze, not truly a cauldron, but it's cauldron-like. It could be a vessel of anything you like. But at the base of this, I laid it with some coffin nails. So the charcoal disc that I have placed in there doesn't sit directly on the base. The charcoal disc has been heating up for around 5 minutes and it's ready to feel my pressure. But let me just begin like this. You may have some dissonance around actually even asking or putting it out there that you want to curse someone. And so let me talk to you specifically about what a curse means. So, and if you should curse somebody. So I think that if somebody has wronged you and you're feeling hard done by, and there's no form or avenue for you to actually have verbal communication with that somebody for any reason, and now what is happening with that individual is percolating inside your body, and you think about this all the time, and the result of you thinking about this on the light side has caused you daily anguish and time wasting, and on the worst side has caused you depression, anxiety, maybe the loss of job, maybe the loss of family, maybe the loss of money and income and revenue. And you don't have to say, okay, I am a money-driven person to say, okay, this person screwed me over for a bunch of money. You have to remember every hour that you work towards something, towards your goal or whatever, that's time away from something else perhaps you wanted to do. And so time is your primary commodity. That is something that you'll never get back. And if someone has been so deceitful that they have stolen your time, what are you going to do about it? So I'm not saying going out there and doing crazy ass vengeance that's going to land you in jail or put you in a therapist office for years and years and years trying to work out where this all went wrong. All I'm saying is that in the witchcraft world, the way we handle this, and I'm going to show you a nice little simple way right now, extremely simple, is to release that anguish into something physical, into something tangible. And years ago, maybe you would take this out, you'd go to see a therapist and they would hand you a baseball bat and a pillow. Maybe you put that person's face on the pillow and you bash the pillow for 5 minutes until you break down in tears. Now the research has actually showed that doesn't work, but it was a therapy technique back in the day. Now what I'm going to show you is a way that spiritually you can start to harness and release this through a process of transformation. Now, you can work a god or a goddess. I'm not going to tell you who you could work into this. Of course, it could be on the darker side or the lighter side. But even, for example, in Welsh or Celtic tradition, you could work with the goddess Cauldron. But she is a goddess of transformation. And Cauldron is synonymous for working with the cauldron because the cauldron equals rebirth. So maybe you're going to look this as a rebirth of yourself, where you're killing off the old, you're getting rid of the old, and it's a rebirth of yourself where you don't have to think of this person. However you want to work it in your head, that's how you have to really think about any type of cursing, hexing type of spell. Okay, so basically what you're going to do on a parchment paper is write the person's name or any personal details if you have it. You can actually write it on a photo of theirs if you have it, that's fine as well. And this, for example, in my case, I'm cursing someone called Marcia Nash, and I wrote down something that I really wish for them. So you need to tailor this to something that you feel is right for you. So here I wrote, Marcia Nash, I curse you and your bloodline for 7 generations. May Satan himself indulge in the torment of your eternal soul. So be it. That's something I really mean. That wouldn't cut me if she was eternally damned. So think of something yourself, write it on a petition paper. Whatever you need to do now to get into state to deliver that, whether you listen to some hard rock music or a song that really triggers you against this person, you need to do that right now, because it's the energy that you have when you're about to deliver this, like deliver the pinches onto the charcoal, that really helps convey the message across and take it from the mundane world where we are right now over into the ether, into the magic world. So if you believe in magic, you understand why this is so important. When I'm doing a video, I'm not going to go flying off the handle because I have to sit in here in front of a camera and try and make sense and not cry or not get emotional or not get too crazy, okay, because I have to deliver some information. The next thing you're going to do is it's only 9 pinches. And so maybe you use some Goofer dust, maybe you use some DUME powder. Whatever you're going to use, it's only 9 pinches. Now, I'm going to, for the sake of this video and demonstrating, I'm going to use these little, it's basically charcoal tongs. But I have tough little hands, so generally what I would actually do is take 9 pinches and put it in like this. So quite simply what you're doing here is taking a pinch of the powder, and each time you drop it into the cauldron, you'll be stating the target's name and thinking about their damnation. So I'll say, Marcia Nash. Now while this is flaming, I'm really thinking about what I would like to be done to her, how I would like to see her go up in flames, how I would be happy if I never had to see her on this face of the earth again. It would bring me great joy. So I'm thinking about that as I'm watching this flame. So I'm not trying to rush through this process or rush through this curse. I'm really feeling the energy. So don't take it wrong that I'm just sitting here right now. If I wasn't sitting here with you right now, I'd probably be speaking to this cauldron, telling it all the things that I really hate about this woman and why this curse is valid. Let's take a second little pinch. Marcia Nash. Now in finale, I suggest that you put your petition paper onto your dagger, as I suggested in the previous video. Light it in the flame and release your intention into the spiritual world once and for all. When you're finished, all you say, and so it is done. Now it is finished and closed off. Now, if you're feeling any type of concern, go take yourself a spiritual bath, basically a bath with some type of hyssop or a salt bath, and just imagine that all the toxic energy is just washing off you like a dirty cloud and then going down into the water. I've done a couple of videos on that matter, but there's a plethora of information about that on the internet. So that's a little simple curse that you can easily do to get rid of somebody that's in your head. So what we're doing here is creating a love potion. And potions, especially ones that the target ingests or digests, processes internally, is some of the strongest forms of magic. Now, we have to be careful when you're making this potion that you're not using ingredients that the target literally hates. And I'm going to share with you a specific ingredient that some people really just don't like. So the idea is to create the potion, and then you'll chill the potion, and then when the target comes around, or when you're preparing a target's food or beverage, you'll place at least a tablespoon into something they're drinking or eating, and that person will start to feel those feelings that you've infused into that potion. Well, isn't this all cozy? It's just you and me and a cauldron and a campfire. I just wanted to show you a creative way of using a cauldron. Now, honestly, I am a bit of a firebug, but no, I don't recommend you use a cauldron such as this good old setup indoors. But I just wanted to get creative for the video, right? Didn't want to take my show outside, but actually this setup really works. Now I can tell you right now that this is hot. As you can see, this candle has probably been burning for around half an hour, and this little puppy is quite warm. And I must say that my premises has ducted air conditioning, and so it is cool in here. Even though it's cool, this is really quite hot. So if I turn off the ducted air, this is really going to be very, very effective. But I will say traditionally, cauldrons are meant to be like cook pots, where you put something on, you put the herbs in there, and they're percolating away for hours and hours, sometimes days and days on end. That is the idea of allowing the cauldron to really brew. It's a work in progress. I guess if you think about it, a lot of the old pictures you see with witches just tending to their cauldron, they're allowing this brew to mix as they're adding different things to it. But I'm not going to be that creative. What I'm showing you right now is to create a potion with a cauldron. And yes, I'm going to be creating a very cute little love potion using one of my older recipes with this baby cauldron. So in this cauldron, I have bubbling away probably about half a glass of wine. Just whatever wine that you have. I typically like to use red wine when it comes to potions. Then inside that, what I'm going to add is hibiscus. Now I love hibiscus flowers, so I'll add just a pinch of that to my cauldron, allowing that to bubble away. You may also wish to add a pinch of cinnamon if you like that taste or texture. Some people just don't like it. I really like it, but I know because some other people don't like it, it's actually such a big deterrent, the smell. I'm not going to add it to a potion. Now, if you have any licorice root, this is another herb that is really awesome to add. It's great for love work, controlling work. I add it to my binding and controlling oils. It is meant to control and get the upper hand in a love relationship. Maybe you're losing control right now. Add a little bit of licorice root to whatever you're doing just to give you that upper edge. And so you may wish to add a little bit of that to your cauldron as well. I have made this potion before with using a mortar and pestle and just one ingredient, and that was coriander. Here I have the coriander powder, so I don't have to bash it up with the mortar and pestle. But if I had the seeds, coriander seeds, what I would do is I'd put them in the mortar and pestle first, and I'd smash them up, and I'd be saying the incantation: warm seeds, warm heart, never let us be apart. And while you're saying it, okay, I'm giving you a tip here. While you're saying it, while you're crushing up the seeds, you're putting that intention to every smash you have of the seeds. So feel free to do that if you want to with the powder, but for today what I'll be doing is adding a good pinch of the coriander powder to the cauldron. I will say that even when I was adding that coriander into the mixture, I was saying warm seeds, warm heart, never let us be apart. And I'm thinking of my target's name. In my wand video, I said that you could use your wand to basically say an incantation or to help the energy over a cauldron while you're saying an incantation. So feel free to use your wand now if you like. And while this is bubbling away, just give this some extra power by saying the incantation as you stir some energy in a clockwise way over the cauldron. So warm seeds, warm heart, never let us be apart. Warm seed, warm heart, never let us be apart. Thinking of the person's name, putting that infusion out there, being passionate. I'm sitting here and I'm quite like static, but normally I'm really getting into it. Warm seed, warm heart, never let us be apart. I'm passionate, I'm really into it. I want this. So my tip to you is that if you're going to pick up the wand and we're going to put magic and magical intention into this, you have to be passionate as you're infusing this mixture with your energy and your desire. Warm seed, warm heart, never let us be apart. Warm seed, warm heart. So you've got to get into it. Don't half do it. Then quite simply, put the lid upon it and allow it to brew. Now these little votive candles, actually think that these could be a really cool candle for this type of scenario. These typically burn in about 4 hours, depending on the temperature, of course. And so this is going to give my little cauldron enough time to really infuse a lot of those wonderful flavors. Now the idea is that when this has finished, when the flame goes out, probably in another couple of hours, I would allow this to cool completely. Once it's cooled completely, probably by tomorrow morning, I would then take it off the cauldron stand, strain it or not, and put it in a container where I could, with a lid so it's airtight. Then when my target comes around, I'll be putting at least a tablespoon into his food or beverage, and it has a very fast effect. But just be careful, and be careful what you wish for when it comes to delivering a potion. Now I'm going to show you how to perform a super easy releasing ritual. Now this is typically done on a full moon, and like you may know, on a full moon you can ask for something or you can release something. But when I'm working with the bay leaf, I actually like to use it for releasing. It's super easy. You don't have to spend too much time on it. And so this is what I'm going to be sharing with you, how to do this and how to release that negativity into the flame of the cauldron. Now, I'm going to show you a few images of how Blonde Gypsy actually does that from the Coven. She performs this for other people. I think it's nearly every full moon she does this ritual. Of course, her ritual is far more complex than what I'm showing you right now. But if you have the opportunity to do it for yourself, of course, it's always more powerful. So let's just get straight into it. What you have to think of is the obstacles such as fears, hurts, maybe it's loneliness or anger, any type of negativity that's really going on with yourself, and you're saying, what are some of the things that I want removed from my life? In about 1 or 2 words, you're going to write that on the bay leaf. Now, some people use a black Sharpie. I like to be a little bit more dramatic and use my dragon's blood ink. And I will say that in every dragon's blood ink, you should add a drop or 2 or a few more drops of your own blood to personalize that ink. I would just like to add here that a releasing ritual shouldn't be seen as something negative or something for the weak person. Even a strong person has things that they need to release in order to be able to move forward into the new project, into the new thing that they want to achieve. Everything has to have a life cycle. So this is your opportunity to find anything that you think might be a roadblock to your path of success, and now release it into the flame. Transform the negative into a positive during this time. Now your cauldron should already be hot at this stage, and all you have to do now is really get into state, think about the intention, pick up your bay leaf and say something like this for an incantation. I call on the gods and goddesses of the south, spirits of fire, of transformation, of change. Hear me now. Now you can just put up your hands in the air like I am to summon the above, or as I suggested in a previous lesson, you can grab your dagger and use that in this ritual. I call on the gods and the goddesses of the south, spirits of fire, of transformation, and of change. Hear me now. And then I'd say the type of things that I'm wanting to change. Now just spend the rest of the time visualizing and meditating, enjoying your time burning each leaf in the flame. And what's most important is that when you're finished burning all of these leaves, you let it go. You completely forget about what you've just done and enjoy yourself doing something positive. Now I'm just going to add something additional here, and you don't have to do this. You may wish to burn some type of releasing incense mix on a charcoal disc as you're doing this ritual. Now our house blend, which we don't sell, but here is the ingredients that we use in our blend. You might want to make up your own blend, but in our blend we have oregano to forget old lovers, yarrow as a cure for heartache, burdock to remove negative feelings of yourself or maybe that you have of others, nettle to remove negative situations, and of course sage to remove negative energy. So I hope that I've inspired you to find a few different ways to use your cauldron in a magical way, whether it be to create a love potion, or maybe you want to use fire to really create that change. But until next time, darkest blessings, one and all. Bye for now.